So over the years, I've noticed that many violinists tend to struggle with the same challenges and obstacles. And so for today's video, I would like to cover specifically one of them to show you how you can overcome it too. My name is Gabriel. I'm the founder of Toaldo Violin School, a violin school based in Tokyo, Japan, where we've been working for 7 years on teaching and shaping violinists of all ages, all levels, and from many different parts of the world. And before that, we've also had extensive experience working in places like Switzerland, the United States, and South America as well. And so if you'd like to learn more, or if you'd like to start, grow, or even perfect your violin techniques, then feel free to reach out to us and we will gladly set up your first lesson with me personally. We offer lessons in person if you're in Tokyo, Japan, or online if you're anywhere else in the world. You'll find all the links down in the description down below. And so with that out of the way, let's get now to today's subject. Now, like I mentioned at the beginning, we all have, whether we're professionals or amateurs, a particular set of challenges and obstacles that we all have to overcome. And today I would like to talk specifically about one of the challenges of your left hand, your finger articulation. Now, what exactly is finger articulation? Maybe you've heard about this before, or maybe you've never heard anyone talk about this. But think about it this way. Have you ever been in a conversation with someone and you're talking for a while, but then after a few moments you actually realize that you cannot really make out any of the words that they're saying? All you hear is a jumbled mess of words and noise that doesn't really make any sense, and all they seem to be doing is just mumbling around. Something like this. And it doesn't matter how hard you try, you cannot really understand what they're trying to say. Well, unfortunately, this person just has poor articulation. They're not really enunciating their words properly, which makes it, of course, impossible for anyone else to understand. And once again, unfortunately, the same thing can happen with your violin playing. I'm sure you know someone, or maybe you are in the position where anytime you have to play a quick passage, many notes going up and down in quick succession, it never sounds well, you can never hear the notes clearly, and you don't know what to do to make it sound better. And of course, particularly today with such an abundant amount of information that you can find anywhere, everyone is going to tell you something different. You should play it like this, you should play it détaché, you should play it all in the same bow, you should play it with this rhythm or that rhythm or in this way or upside down. But what if I told you there's actually a much easier and much more direct way to do this that doesn't involve following a 25-step process to try to play it a little better? And all you have to do to actually perfect your finger articulation is think about how your finger approaches the string. And now this is a very easy 3-step process that I'll cover in just 1 second. But first, let me tell you that I've met many people, both students of ours and colleagues of ours, who have never thought about the importance of finger articulation. And just like you want to be talking to someone who actually enunciates their words properly so that you can clearly understand what they're saying, you also want to be a violinist who properly enunciates and articulates their notes so that everyone else can understand you. And the way to do that is actually surprisingly simple, but what tends to happen is that people think that in order for you to play faster, you have to keep your fingers in close proximity to the string. Because in theory, the shorter the distance between your finger and your string, then the quicker they reach the string, and so basically the quicker you can play, right? But that's not what happens. In actual practice, because the distance is so small, the fingers are actually going towards the string at a very slow speed. And so what ends up happening is that the transition between one note and the other note, it's actually very muffled and not very clear at all. In reality, you actually want the complete opposite. You want your finger to be far away from the string so that you drop it at a higher speed, giving you a clearer and much more crisp tone. And here's exactly how you're going to do that. Now, before we actually start the process, I want you to have clear in your head that we're not going to be applying any additional force, any additional strength, or any additional pressure or weight from the finger onto the string. We're only operating exclusively with the natural weight of the finger. Because think about it, the more strength or pressure or weight you add, the slower your fingers are going to get. And for you, in order to play quickly, you want to have a very light and relaxed left hand at all times. So now for the actual first step, you want to think about your left hand as a small set of whips. And this is an exercise that you can actually do without your violin at first as well. There's no problem at all. So you want to take your first finger and you're going to bring it down to the base of the finger, the tip of the finger, touching the base of the finger, the beginning of the palm of your hand, if you can do that. And now you want to bring that up and down very lightly and very relaxed a few times. Just bring your finger up and down to understand the range of movement of that part of your finger. And then for step 2, I want you to think about the type of movement you need to do in order to actually use a whip successfully. Think about Indiana Jones, for example, and the first thing he has to do is actually draw the whip back before actually cracking it in front of him. So you want to do the same thing with your finger. You're going to touch once again the base of your finger with the tip and then draw it back and open it and extend it away from the string. So once again, we can try that a few times. You're bringing the finger down to the palm of your hand and then drawing it back and opening it away from the string. And so you can try that a few times with each finger to get a sense of the range of each finger as well. You'll see that some fingers are actually a lot more challenging than others, but those are things we'll also be covering in upcoming videos. And then for step 3, from this position, you actually want to crack the whip and drop the finger quickly onto the string. Now in this case, of course, we're just dropping it into the air, but you get the point. You just drop it quickly and try that a few times with each finger. So we'll divide it into 3 movements like this. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And you want to try that as well with your second finger, with your third finger, and your fourth finger. Now, I want to clarify once again that we're not using any additional strength to drop the finger. So if you actually try it on the surface of your arm, on the skin of your arm, you'll hear this sound. I hope the microphone is picking up the sound, but you can actually tell that from this movement, I'm not adding any strength. I'm not doing this and pressing onto the string, but the sound actually comes purely from the speed of the finger. The finger is just smacking quickly onto, well, in this case, my arm. But you want to do the same thing on your fingerboard. And now, of course, it goes without saying that if you want all your fingers to have the same articulation, you have to work on all of them in the same way. Because you'll find that that's another problem that many of us face. Different fingers are developed differently. And so maybe you have a very good first finger, but your second finger or your third finger are not so good. And your fourth finger is just completely neglected and you can barely move it at speed. So just keep in mind that whatever you do with one finger, you want to do with all other fingers as well. So one way that I like to work on this is by actually taking a scale and repeating each note of the scale at least 4 times to develop, or hyper-develop if you will, this round whip-like movement of my fingers. And you'll see that after a while you'll develop not only the articulation of your finger, but your precision and your speed as well. So good luck with this, and if you have any questions or if you'd like to learn more, feel free to reach out. We offer lessons in person if you're in Tokyo, Japan, or online if you're anywhere else in the world. Once again, you'll find the links down in the description. So go ahead and get your first lesson with us, and in the meantime, I'll see you next time and take care.